In this video, I'm going to show you how you can easily come up with dozens of awesome sounding repeating licks of your very own, so stay tuned. Hey there, this is James for James Shipway Guitar, and thanks for tuning in to another one of my videos. Now, one of my most popular YouTube videos ever is my repeating rock licks video, and in today's lesson I want to follow that up by showing you some ways that you can easily start making some really cool sounding repeating licks up of your very own. Repeating licks are a really great way to get some excitement, some energy and some momentum into your solo, so having a few that you can use when you play is a really cool idea. But this lesson's slightly different because I'm not just going to show you a load of licks to go away and learn. I'm going to take one basic lick and then I'm going to show you some ways you can experiment with it to come up with dozens and dozens of variations on that lick which you can then use in your playing. Let's dive in. Now we're going to be using the A blues scale for this lesson. You can apply the ideas I'm going to show you to pretty much any scale pattern, but I think this is a good place to start because it's just a commonly used and very versatile sounding scale, so you come up with a lot of ideas that you can actually use quite often when you play a solo. Now if I play the A blues scale down at the 5th fret for you, it looks like this. I'm sure you've probably seen that before. Now we're only interested in the top 3 strings for this lesson. Now I'm just going to show you a little trick you can do with this scale which can make it really easy to come up with some repeating licks. What we're going to do is get rid of this note at the 7th fret on the G string. So instead of playing this on the G string, we're just going to play 5 to 8 on the G string. It might sound a little bit weird as a scale shape, but it's a good source of some great sounding ideas. So now what we've got is this kind of symmetrical sort of scale in terms of the fingering. It's the same on every string. We've got 5 to 8 on the G string, 5 to 8 on the B string, and 5 to 8 on the top E string. The symmetrical fingering makes it easy to transfer one idea onto different string sets, and we'll see how to do that in just a moment. Now to start with, I'm going to take a simple little repeating idea on the B and G string, and we're going to use this as like our starting point, and then like I said earlier, we're going to build out a load of other licks based on it. So here's our starting lick. I'm going to play 5 on the B string. I'm going to hammer on to 8 and pull off back to 5 on the B string. Remember when you pull off to flick slightly downwards so you get a nice strong clear note. Then I'm going to go to 8 on the G string. Now you've probably seen some ideas like this before. There's some things like this in some of my other videos. So that's our first idea, but what could we do with that to change it? Well, because of the scale shape we're using here, it's really easy to move that onto the next 2 strings. So that's one way that we can create a variation here. I'm going to go up onto the top E string and I'm going to play exactly the same thing on the top 2 strings. And there we have a new lick. Now it's not a particularly earth-shatteringly original idea, that and everyone plays it, but still you can see how we've taken that starting point and we've used it to come up with a new idea. Now let's look at what else we could do. I mean, what about if instead of doing this, we moved this bit onto the top string and kept this note where it is. So instead of having this, we'd have something like this. got a sort of a string skip in there, which just opens up the sound a little bit more. Now maybe what we could do is start on the original idea and play it twice and then go to the one with the string skip, something like this. So these are just some of the ways we can experiment with this simple lick, and there's loads of others, and I'm sure you'll find all sorts of things if you mess around with this a bit that I haven't got time to cover here, but I want to show you one more. And what we're going to do here, we're going to take our original lick, but we're going to extend it. We're going to make it longer. So instead of this, we're going to do this. So we're just pulling back off to 5 on the G string and hammering back onto 8 on the G. This lick is 6 notes long, which can make it a little bit harder to sort of squash inside a bar. So you can still do it, but just to make it a bit simpler, we're going to tag a little bit on the end of it. So we're going to do the idea twice here. Then just to make it up to a more sort of round number of notes, we're going to go 5, 8, 5 on the B, and then 8 on the G. So we're kind of playing it 2.5 times. So now we've got that idea, we could easily take it and move it onto the next 2 strings like we did earlier on. We could play each one once. And we could also experiment with putting a string skip in there. So maybe instead of doing this on the second time, we might move the B string notes onto the G string. So we get this. Then of course we could do both of them, so we could start with this one and then go to string skip. So hopefully you can see here how we can just take an idea like this, try moving on to some different string sets, put in some string skips, and really the sky's the limit. We can find all sorts of new ideas based upon things we already know and things we already play. So we don't have to go and learn hundreds of new licks. We can take one lick we already play and see how many of our own ideas we can generate using that one as a starting point. Now we haven't even added in this G string note on the 7th fret yet. Imagine if we added that in as well. Our original lick could become something like this. And the string skipped one could become this. So when you start doing that as well, you open up a whole new area that you can explore, all still coming from this same basic idea. The key with this is experimentation. Don't be afraid to try anything that you think might work, even if it turns out it doesn't. Experimentation like this is how we discover new ideas and how we build a guitar style that's recognisably ours. If you've enjoyed this lesson, then you might be interested in my free play-along jam pack that I'm giving away at the moment. It includes the backing track I've used in this video, some useful scale shapes, and also 2 video lick lessons showing you some cool sounding licks that you can use over the backing track. To grab your copy right now, simply click the link underneath this video and your jam pack will be safely delivered to your email inbox straight away. So that's all from me for today. Thanks a lot for watching and I'll see you next time.